We kind of knew that it was going to be kind of a slog for the Bucs and their offense, just because with the injuries they have. Obviously, Emeka Ibuka is now their number one, and he was going to have a tough matchup. They're going to try to double him, and just points were going to be at a premium, and have been for the Bucs the previous two games. And they came out in this game with a perfect drive against the Patriots to get the opening kickoff, go down, score a touchdown, and that was kind of it for a little while. I mean, what really happened on Sunday is not supposed to happen to a Todd Bowles defense, and that is just giving up huge, huge chunk plays on defense to the New England Patriots. And it's not only that they gave them up, but sort of who gave them up on top of that. It started, and I made a kind of a thing about this in my story in the Tampa Bay Times and on tampabay.com. And that is that it kind of began with Benjamin Morrison, who's a rookie from Notre Dame. Look, he has all the promise in the world. If not for a hip injury, he probably would have been a first-round pick. But, they've been doing this thing where he's coming in after the third series for Jamel Dean. And Jamel Dean has had a Pro Bowl type year so far. I mean, he leads them interceptions with 3. He's got a couple forced fumbles. And in this game, he had made a touchdown saving tackle. Already. But about the third series or so, they put in Benjamin Morrison. The Bucs were up 7-0, and he gets smoked. He gets smoked on a 72-yard touchdown pass from Drake May to Kyle Williams. Final play of the first quarter, and then he follows that up with a pass interference penalty. And that was sort of the start of things. They there wasn't Morrison on the field all the time for these plays, but they wound up losing 28-23 in a game that wasn't that close, really. But they give up runs of 69 and 55 yards. Runs. These are runs to Travion Henderson, and a 54-yard pass for a touchdown to Mac, or not for a touchdown, but just a 54-yard pass to Mac Hollins. So 4 huge chunk plays. I mean, enormous chunk plays. And they wind up losing to the Patriots. It got kind of a late garbage touchdown in a way. And, like I said, the score is not indicative of the game, I don't think. But, that's a really tough loss because, and we know what's on the schedule. You've got to go to Buffalo, who were losers to the Miami Dolphins, unbelievably, which I think only makes it harder to beat Buffalo next week because they did lose. And then you got to go to the LA Rams, which right now, if you ask me who's the best team in the NFC, it's the Rams. And I don't think it's close. They beat up on San Francisco. They just seem to have so much balance. I think Matthew Stafford threw 3 or 4 touchdown passes. But, Henderson wound up with 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. They rolled up 435 yards and may, pass for 270 and a couple scores. And yet, a great interception, sort of in the end zone, gave them an opportunity to get the ball back.
What a great read by Tyke, though.
Oh, Tyke Smith just jumped it. Yeah, he came off his guy.
Yep.
Read the ball, made the really, there was a put away touchdown or even a field goal would have been made it a 2-score game. Instead, the Bucs get the ball back with the interception in a touchback at their own 20.
Now, the look on Drake May's face, couldn't believe it. Like, where did he come from? Like, where?
Yeah.
It was a great play.
Yeah, diving catch, got his feet in. I mean, the kind of play that, wins championships. I mean, because, you get the ball back when you're not expecting it. You prevent the touchdown, you prevent the field goal, and now you go on a drive of your own. And they marched down the field, and they had like a 3rd and 4 inside the 40-yard line, and they couldn't convert. He kind of throws a little bit low to Cade Otton, wasn't a great throw. And then they get a 5-man pressure, and they blow that, and he's basically sacked and kind of tosses it over his head like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and is caught by Rashad White, but he's tackled for a 3-yard loss. And that was effectively it. I mean, they did, score kind of a late garbage touchdown after they'd given up another score.
And by the way, the score they gave up to Travion Henderson.
Yep.
You think they let him score?
I don't think so.
We didn't think so earlier this year, and they did.
I know. Well, it didn't.
I mean, it was like, what, a minute and a half left. You had like 2 timeouts.
Yeah,
but
I think they had all 3 timeouts. Actually, I think they could have gotten the ball back potentially, and still had a 1-score game. But once he broke containment, I can't tell you what the other guys.
Once he broke containment, he looked at the sideline like, should I score or do I go?
Right, I thought he was going
to
go down. Yeah, I thought he was going to fall. But they went ahead and did let him score, and the Bucs did get the ball back, and they did score a touchdown, and it was a little garbage time, but that was it. And they didn't get the onside kick, although I was running downstairs at the time. You said it was a really good kick. They almost got it.
I got that third bounce that, it takes the two bounces, then the third one pops up in the air.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, they had a shot. I mean, it ended up in the receiver's hands. I believe it was Diggs.
I think you're right.
Hands before they got there, but that's exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then, after the game, obviously they were all disappointed. I guess Baker spoke up in the locker room and kind of got on his team a little bit, and he took accountability for himself because he made some bad plays as well. After the first touchdown, to Emeka Buka, Baker went like 1 for 6. I thought he was trying to force the ball a little bit early after that first series. It was so easy for them. They took the opening kickoff, and in 6 plays they're in the end zone.
Yep.
And rather than capturing that momentum and doing something with it, and like he said, erasing it and pretending like you're down or it's 0-0, they just kind of fumbled around, really didn't get anything going after that. And they didn't have sort of the execution or the urgency. And that's kind of what upset Baker afterwards. He said that should have taken some easy completions, and there was this lull, and couldn't keep drives going. I thought he went for a little too much. I thought there were guys available in the flat for him to check it down to, but they didn't get it. But, the last couple of weeks, they've scored 9, 16, and 23 points on offense, that is, in the past 3 games. And that's just not going to get it. They're not going the right direction. And they got to get some guys back. I don't know really if Chris Godwin and or Bucky Irving, who I saw on the sidelines, hadn't seen him in a while, on Sunday. I don't know if either or both of those guys are getting close to come back. Luke Goedeke did come back, and that definitely helped the run game. They ran the ball against a Patriots team that gives up no yards at all on the ground, and they ran it pretty successfully.
Yeah. And that's without Bucky Irving too. So
without Bucky, yeah.
But then they lose Ben Bredesen in the game.
They did. They lost him in the first quarter, and that killed them. That killed them from the standpoint of, you take one step forward with, get the right tackle, and Charlie Heck leaves the game. He's out now, and yet, Bredesen comes back. Has been their starter. He had a bit of I guess during the week he was on the injury report with a hamstring, but he did start the game, and then I think with a shoulder, and then he got a hamstring during the game, and then was knocked out. So they bring in Mike Jordan. Well, when they run a 5-man pressure against Baker on 4th down, needing a touchdown to win, Mike Jordan just gets destroyed. Just he's like a turnstile, and Baker's under pressure, and like I said, has to kind of flip it up, trying to make something happen, and it was too late. So you just can't continually have these, injuries to your offensive line. This was the first game, by the way, the first set of plays, and it didn't last a whole game, that 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen are on the field at the same time. The exception is they lost Cody Malk for the year, but they've not even had their 4 guys together until this game, and it didn't last long because then Bredesen went down. So a little bit snake bit on the offensive line. It did come back to bite them, in a critical down when you got 4th and 3 and you can't convert. Touchdown there. I mean, this is what Baker has done all year long, right? He's got 4 last-minute comebacks, and he had an opportunity to do it one more time, but just wasn't able to pull it out when you live on the edge like that. So I don't know where this team is headed, quite frankly. The schedule is the most brutal part of their schedule, at Buffalo, who, again, is beatable. We saw that with Miami. And then at the Rams, who I don't think is beatable. Long trip against the best team, arguably, in the NFC. So you could see this thing go from, 6-2 to about, what would it be, 6-4, 6-5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, they got help on Sunday from a division rival, the Saints, beating the Panthers.
That was huge for them, as well as Atlanta losing in Germany to the Colts.
Yes.
So you got, neither team gained any ground, and in fact, you gained a little more ground on Carolina, or at least they got another loss in the book.
But you lost to one of the best teams on your schedule, where they lost to the Saints.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, it's not good. The Bucs still have to play the Saints themselves at home.
Yes.
They have beaten them once. They got Carolina twice in 3 weeks to end the season. And those Carolina games, I think, are going to matter. Carolina, after playing and losing to Atlanta, I'm not sure where they go next. I don't think it's a team that they would be, completely out of their league or punching up. But we'll kind of see. It's a long season. The one thing you have to remember is that nothing that happens before Thanksgiving really is going to tell you who's going to make the playoffs. But the Bucs had been in a great position and would have been if they could have taken care of New England. I'll tell you what, Drake May is the real deal now. Drake May made some incredible throws. I mean, the touchdown. So the Bucs have a chance to have a goal line stand. It's 4th and 1, and they've stuffed them on 3 straight runs. Remind me a little bit of last week when the Bucs couldn't get in the end zone. But May decides to throw a fade route to Stephon Diggs, which is a pretty good idea. And Antoine Winfield Jr. is all over him. I mean, great coverage. He drops that thing in there, man. Diggs gets his feet down, touchdown. That was a thing of beauty. I mean, he really does. He really just makes plays when he needs to make plays.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I really haven't seen him play much. I mean, you've seen the stats this year and people talking and the highlights in that, but to watch him play and to see him in year 2 and the difference from year 1 and
he's in control,
right? What Vrabel's done with that team.
Oh,
from just the attitude and culture and
that's it right
belief.
there.
Belief.
Yep, that's it right there. It's culture, And I'm not saying that he's not a good, defensive strategist or some of the game plans haven't been good, but Mike Vrabel is that culture guy.
Yep.
And, and he's done it in that building as a player, so he knows what it looks like. But that team has already taken on his personality. They are physical. They are tough. They're, they don't let mistakes compile, into multiple mistakes. Like they didn't play a perfect game by any stretch. But man, and he was very aggressive. I mean, 4th and 1 in that one situation, a lot of people that early in the game would have kicked the field goal, whatever. He goes for it. And it wasn't an easy call on a fade route that they managed to connect on, but that's kind of Brable too. He's super aggressive on defense and on offense. And those guys believe. You'd have to say now, because of their record, they've won 6 in a row, I think. And if you look at their record, it's tied with the Colts for the best in the AFC.
Yep.
So you'd have to now say, hey, we're past November. What am I looking at here? They've beaten some good teams. Certainly the Bucs, I think, are a good team. Could be greater if they had their pieces, but nonetheless. But you'd have to say that the Patriots, what they remind me of? I think I may have already said this. I'll repeat myself anyway. I don't care. They remind me of last year's Washington Commanders. Now, the quarterback's not a rookie, but it seems like they've kind of burst onto the scene maybe a year earlier than most people expected.
Yep.
And they're having that kind of year, right? They're having that kind of year where you look up and you go, wow, these guys are in first place in their division. They've ripped off 5 or 6 in a row. And that's kind of what Jaden Daniels did last year for Washington. So, yeah, he's a good quarterback, man. I mean, it's pretty amazing to go from, Brady. Of course, Mac Jones did a pretty good job when he tried to replace Brady, and he had a winning season as a rookie. Then it didn't work out, and now he's bounced out to San Francisco. But the guy after the guy, Drake May, he's going to be around a long time, man. He's going to play an awful long time in that city, and he's really good. Like, they got another one. I don't going to compare him to Brady. That would be ridiculous. He's got 7 Super Bowls, but let me tell you, when you have a quarterback, you have a chance. And Josh McDaniels is back with them now, and he did some stuff. He did some stuff to the Bucs, and it worked. Good play caller, really understood what Todd was trying to get done, and got the dub. And that's really all that matters. And boy, with not for nothing, but I know a lot of Bucs fans probably cashed big paychecks or big checks from these Patriot fans they sold their tickets to, but a lot of Bucs fans sold tickets on Sunday. It was incredible, man. It felt like 50-50 at best.
It was loud on TV when the Patriots made it.
It was bad. I mean, there were so many Patriot fans there. It was just waves and waves of them.
Yeah, and on the radio, I listened to part of the game on the radio and heard it was loud too.
Oh, they got loud. Yeah, anytime something good would happen, and it was a lot. So they didn't go to the silent count. That was one thing I was waiting for to see if the Bucs were going to have to go, signals, hand signals, but it didn't quite get that bad when they had the ball. But it was loud, and there were a lot of them there. Kind of like Pittsburgh Steeler fans that are in Los Angeles watching the Chargers play right now.
Watching this baseball game where the Dodgers leading the Pirates 5-3 right now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just weird. Aaron Rodgers, nice safety, man. Way to take one in the end zone. He fumbled the ball. I thought it was going to be a touchdown. He was able to pounce on it. Yeah, interesting games around the league. Obviously, there's never a weekend that doesn't have a surprise or two, and tough losses, man. Atlanta, another tough loss for them, going all the way to Germany, and they go into overtime, and they get the ball first and they get 3 and out, and couldn't stop Jonathan Taylor all day. He just ran all over him, and so he scores a walk-off touchdown run. That was an interesting game. I think the Jaguars blew a big lead and they lost. So every week, man, it's week to week league. You just don't know. What was Baker Mayfield MVP candidate, Bucks really feel good story. All those things kind of starting to be whittled away a little bit here. They need to stop the bleeding. And I would have told you that of the 3 games, the little gauntlet they're in right now, the easiest one for them or the best matchup for them would have been on Sunday against New England. That was the one they needed. After that, if you lose 2, you're okay. They're AFC teams. You still have a decent record now. And I think maybe the worst thing that happened was Buffalo losing to Miami, because they're even more desperate than they could possibly be, and they're not going to take anyone lightly. Maybe they took the Dolphins lightly. I don't know. But now you're going to go up there and face a very hostile Bills team that's desperate to win, or they're going to find themselves out of the playoffs. They're obviously not leading the division. So, with the Patriots doing what they're doing, they have to try to keep pace and at least try to get a wild card. So you're going to get your best punch, no doubt about it. I don't know, man. It's kind of that area of the season where you could have looked at the schedule and said, okay, here's where the tough part begins. But not having Mike Evans, not having Chris Godwin, and we don't know. Like, I think just watching Bucky Irving move around, he's got his shoulders, so that's part of the thing you can't see. It feels to me like they may get a player back or 2 for this next game, but it may not matter because now you've got a very desperate Buffalo team that really needs to win, and you're going to get their best punch. So I don't know. Could be one of those years, and yet even if they did lose 2 more, they're still not out of it, because I don't think that Carolina will catch them now. Atlanta certainly won't, and you'll have to beat Carolina. You get 2 out of 3 coming up, towards the end of the last 3 weeks of the season.
I was going to say, Carolina, controls their own destiny in the fact that they play Tampa Bay twice.
They do. They absolutely can get things done.
They're a game and a half back, and
that's right.
Play Tampa twice, so they control their own destiny.
Yep. If they hang in there and they don't lose any more ground, then you're going to have to beat them. You're going to have to beat them. Now, I'm not exactly sure how they lost to New Orleans, because I didn't see the game, but it's got to be a bad loss. It's disappointing because they're a much better team than New Orleans is. But that's why you play the games any given Sunday. So yeah.
And what's really disappointing is it was at home. It wasn't even on the road.
Yeah, true.
They lost at home to the Saints.
That's right. Yeah, to the Saints. Yeah. No, that's a bad loss. It's a really bad loss. And sometimes that happens. You got to be prepared, man. Somebody's going to come in there, and it doesn't matter what their record is, doesn't matter. But, division teams especially, there's no fear factor. They've been on the grass with you. If you're not ready to play, someone's going to knock your block off. And that's the way it's always been in this league, and it always will be. And that's the other thing. Todd Bowles, his bye record now is 1-3. And I don't think it was very good with the Jets. I'm just saying. So his teams have not handled. I know they needed the time off, but they just haven't handled it. And to lose, and then not to lose Ben Bredesen, you've started to finally get 4 of your 5 guys back, and that's going to be something to watch, because Mike Jordan did not play well when he went in the game. But the big plays. I mean, you don't see teams get gashed like that on the ground. 69 and 55 yards on the ground. I don't think I've seen runs like that since Barry Sanders was at Raymond James.
Not a Todd Bowles defense.
Right? I mean, they're the bend but don't break guys.
Yeah, and they've always been good against the run.
Yeah, exceptional this year. And to give up those chunks, and it would have been more. Jamel Dean made one play that prevented a touchdown. I don't know, man. I don't know about Bowles' defense. He obviously got out coached. He said we got out coached, we got out played, and that's a default answer by him. They truly did get out coached. They and Baker going off after the game is a story. Telling his teammates that they didn't have a killer instinct. They came out first drive of the game down the field, and then you got to treat every drive like it's a desperation. You can't say, well, we got this because it was easy the first time. You've got to add to it and have a sense of urgency, and they kind of didn't. They didn't play that way after the first possession. So it's all in there. It's all sort of everybody's fault, and then no one in particular's. But I don't think the Bucs, they got off to a great start. Okay. But if you look at who they beat, their best win is against Seattle, which was remarkable, looking every bit better every single day because of the way Seattle was playing. They destroyed what was it, San Francisco? I think that's who they played.
Yep.
They're the real deal. Like, they are the real deal. And the Bucs were very lucky to win. Not lucky, but they're very fortunate because of the tip ball interception by Levante David, because I'm convinced Darnold's going to go down there and get him in field goal range and win the game. So that's their best win. And you've lost to Philly now. You've lost to some pretty good teams that are playoff teams. But if you're going to be a playoff team, you expect to win playoff games, you have to win these games. You have to take control of the tiebreaker. You have to mount a streak, because nothing's really decided until you get into November, really until you get past Thanksgiving. And this team is not there yet. So pretty disappointing for the few Bucs fans that managed to go to the game. I'm sure for those at home as well. And, I think Baker's still nicked up. I still think that there's some limitations on him. So this thing could start to compile if they're not careful. That's all I'm saying. But then again, you saw what Miami do, and if the Dolphins could do that, there's no reason to think that the Bucs couldn't do it too. We'll just have to wait and see. We're going to talk about the Lightning. It's about the hottest team in hockey right now, certainly the hottest team in Tampa Bay. But first, get on down to Breitling Boutique. I was there the other day. In the window, a watch that you're going to want. It's an NFL team watch, a Buccaneers team watch, right? While supplies last. Chronomat watch with the Buccaneers logo on it. The face of the watch is red like Tampa Bay. This thing is stellar. Get to Breitling Boutique. They're in the middle of the mall there on the second floor. They're going to tell you about all their watches, not just the NFL watches, which is celebrating the 104th year anniversary. They're going to tell you about, for the men, the Chronomats, the Navitimers. For women, ladies' watches, sports watches. These are durable. They're beautiful. And she's going to love you for them. And it is Breitling Boutique. You've been International Plaza Mall over there, kind of sandwiched between the airport a little bit and, say, Dale Mabry, but it's a terrific store with terrific customer service. Please, when you go, will you let them know that you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay? I didn't get to see the whole Las Vegas game, Steve. I think when we may have spoke the other day, I think they were trailing 2-0.
Well, they were down 2-0, and it was one of the worst periods they've had.
Yeah.
The first period was
first period of that game, yeah.
Yeah. Then they flipped the script. And they scored 6 of the next 7 goals and win 6-3.
Yeah, I believe they might have scored 4 in the final period, but so they've now won 7 of 8. Is that correct?
That is correct, because Saturday night they beat the Capitals at Benchmark International Arena.
And that was quite the game. It got a little chippy, as it usually does with Washington, right?
It does, as Tom Wilson's trying to lay thunderous checks all over the ice.
Yeah, he was. He really was.
Probably all of them within the scope of the rules, but kind of dirty a little bit too.
Yeah.
Blindside shots are, Tom Wilson's a hell of a player. He's also gotten away with not being punished for a lot of dirty hits for years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he needs to do all that, but he still does. And he's a tremendous player. He's the best player on their team.
He's the enforcer.
He was the best player on the ice Saturday night.
Yeah, he was good.
The Lightning were the better team, but Tom Wilson was the best player on the ice.
Yeah. It was a nice win. They've really settled down. Maybe you said you think it's that third line, huh?
I think they have, they have 4 lines that they can roll.
Mm-hmm.
That third line of Gord, Holmberg, and Gergensons has been spectacular.
Right.
And really, the winning streak started when Gergensons returned to the lineup.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. He missed the first 7 games or whatever, and when he returned is when they started winning.
Wow.
That line's been great. A little worried about Ryan McDonough. He did
what
not
is
come
his
out
injury?
for the second
Do we know?
period. No, and he's they've had a practice Sunday, and Cooper just said that he's still being evaluated. We're going for further evaluation. So, that
took
one
a bite out of their defense.
That one, yeah. Well, if he's out long term, yes, it absolutely would.
Yeah.
But hopefully Nick Paul is back Wednesday. Hopefully Anthony Cirelli's back Wednesday.
Yeah, they still have some guys down. You're right.
Yeah. So Max Crozier is day to day, but we don't know what McDonough is at this point. So, but yeah, the Lightning. For all the people that wrote the Lightning off, they're now 3rd place in the division. And
hey, man, they were 0-2, okay? And I saw the second game. It was terrible.
No. Look, the first 7 games were not good. They were 1-4-2.
Yeah.
They were not good in the first 7 games. Don't get me wrong. But But you look at that roster, and look, their power play still isn't clicking yet, although they've had a couple power play goals the last few games.
Right.
But it's still not what you expect it to be.
Right.
The penalty kill has been really good. And now it's just trying to munch points. They'll host the Rangers on Wednesday, and then this coming Saturday, they're at Florida, the first matchup against the Panthers.
Well, that'll be a bloody mess.
It very well could be.
Yeah. No, you got to love the way they're playing. I mean, shoot, they've done it on the road. They've, got to continue to play well at home.
Yep.
That would be huge. But, it was a little bit overreaction early on. It's just like, I think part of that's natural, though, too, because you got a lot of guys that have now been there for many, many years in their 30s. You're like, maybe what we're seeing here is that. No, it's not what you're seeing. Just shut up and let them play hockey.
Well, look, you're going to have a 5, 6, 7 game stretch in the regular season where you're not going to play well.
It might be the first 5 games, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that it's.
But when it happens, the first 5 games or 7 or whatever it is, it's amplified because it's the only 5 or 7 games you played.
That's right. That's right.
When it happens in January, and you're 10 games above 500, and you hit a stretch where you go 1-4-2. You go,
no one panics.
It's the in the middle of the season where
you have been dog days. It's the dog days.
Yeah, I mean it's hockey and baseball and basketball, unlike football, it's a marathon.
Well, we're so prone to overreact. I mean, that's the thing. You only got 17 of these, and each game is precious. And when you win, you feel like you can win them all. Well, when you lose, you feel like you're never going to win again.
But Buffalo lost. A bad loss today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we think they're a really bad team now?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we think that about the Lightning either, but it just I think there's a natural curiosity about how long the window is going to be open, though. You know what I mean? I mean, you could argue that the window is as open as Vasilevsky is going to be their goaltender.
But the other part of it is, and it's a fair question. It's a legit question, and at some point
with this core anyway.
Well, yeah, at some point Hedman and McDonough, and they're going to start to Father Time catches up to everybody. Like
sure it does.
But when you think about is their window open? I mean, how many people are left from the 2 Cup teams? There's not many.
No, very few actually.
It's Hedman, it's Kucherov, it's Vasilevsky. It's McDonough who left and is back. Chernak was there.
Yeah.
Point was there. Sorelli was there.
Not too many.
That may be it. Well, Yanni Gord's back now.
Yanni's gone and back, yeah.
Yeah. But that's it. Like, it's not like, 16 of the 20 players are still there from 4 or 5 years ago. It's not.
You're right. And the ones that remain, many of them are long in the tooth.
Like Hagel and Paul were picked up the next year at the trade deadline when they went to the Cup final and lost to Colorado. They have not been on a Cup team.
Right.
So they're not as they're one of the older teams in the league, but they're not as old as you think they are because they've been competing for a Cup since 15 when they played Chicago.
True.
And how many they've been to, but there's been a lot of roster turnover.
True. Yeah.
Now, the goalie has been pretty consistent through it, although Ben Bishop was against Chicago. And Hedman's been there and Cooch. And Point came after the Chicago, obviously. He was, 17 or 18?
Right.
But so it's, at some point, Father Time's going to catch up to them. But
sure.
The way they've turned their roster over, it's not like the whole team has been here for 10 years together. The core, Cooch, Vazzy, Hedman, Point, Sorelli, McDonough, like they're here.
But they've really added to it since then, though.
Mm-hmm.
With good players, Gensel,
No, he's a really good player.
He's terrific, man. That dude.
He's such a
I look
smart
up,
player.
He has 2 goals a game. I mean, it's like, what's going on?
He's such a smart player. He's always in the right spot, always in, and look, it's hard to play with a Kucherov.
I bet.
Like you have to know how to do it. And he did it for years with Crosby.
Right.
They're different players, but he
find those spots where he's going to find you.
Well, but he's talked about it. He goes, I don't know when the puck's coming or how it's coming, but I know I have to be ready because it's coming.
I'm ready for it.
Because it's coming. Like that's what, Cooch does and Sidney Crosby and the great ones can do. Like I don't know
throws you open, as they say.
Yeah, how or when, but it's coming, so be ready. Like
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a really good player.
Well, it's been fun to watch 7 out of 8. That's not easy to do in any league, but much less hockey. And they did some of that on the road, obviously, with this West Coast trip.
Yep.
So that was big. And then Washington, took care of Ovechkin the other night. So, yeah, good for them, man. It's fun. It's fun when the Lightning are winning because you got to endure a lot of other things that are up and down, like the Bucs season. College football, man. Florida State, they went down to Clemson. Florida went down to Kentucky. Not a big college football weekend in the state. And USF, however.
Yeah, when we recorded Thursday night, they were up big, and they ended up winning big, of course.
And they won big, but then they got a break the other night. I believe it was Memphis that went down to Tulane.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so now the USF Bulls, as far as the National College Championships go, the playoffs, kind of control their own destiny. If they were to win out,
I believe they're in the championship game of the American if they win out, and if they win that game,
and if you're the highest ranked non-power 4-5 team, I guess, you would then go to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, it's if they win out, it's either them or James Madison,
right?
And I think USF will be higher rated than James Madison. So,
yeah, and James Madison's in a lesser conference, I believe.
Correct. Yeah, they're in the Sun Belt.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean. What more could USF ask for? It's a great opportunity they put themselves in position for. And as Golish said, look, we're playing meaningful games late in November. That's the goal of any college program. And really with a good chance of doing this, of pulling this off.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be. I mean, at Navy this week is tough.
That'll be a tough one. Yeah,
Navy's one of the teams they're tied with, or I think Navy actually is
one. And Navy has one loss, but
yep. There's 5 teams with one loss in the American.
Right.
I think Navy's 5-1. There's a bunch at 4-1.
Yep.
It's possible one's at 3-1 still, but yeah.
So who they got left? They got Navy.
They end with Rice, and I think they're at FAU. Does that sound right?
I think there's a different team, but yeah, it's not. It's not other than Navy. I think that's probably going to be their toughest.
Oh no, I'm
game.
sorry. At UAB. Navy at UAB, and then Rice at home.
And of course, UAB was a team that upset Memphis.
Yes.
And their head coach is Chris Mortensen's son. After they fired Trent Dilfer.
Yep.
So, they are capable, is all I could say. I don't know where that game is, but they're certainly
that one's
capable.
at UAB. So they're at Navy, at UAB, and then Rice at home.
Yeah, and that's that's where Memphis lost. But what an opportunity for Alex Golesh to have turned this around with Bynum Brown and those guys and be in position. Can you imagine the windfall alone financially for USF to get into the college football playoffs is enormous.
All gas, no brakes. I mean,
oh man, you can buy a lot of gas with that money. Let me just tell you, it might equal or surpass their athletic budget. I'm not really sure, but then again, you might be going on the road to play. Oh, I don't know, Ohio State.
Who
or
cares?
someone like that.
Who cares where you're going?
It doesn't matter. You're on the map. Can you imagine
you're in
what
the
an
playoff?
opportunity?
You're in the playoff.
What an opportunity that would be, man, and what an accomplishment, right? The first.
I mean, what? How many teams have made basically the playoff from a non-power five? And granted, Cincinnati did it when it was 4 team.
Yeah. Well, since they changed the format,
got them into the Big 12, but they made it was the 4 team, and now with the 12 team, 1 team's guaranteed in. And what? It's been Boise State.
Yeah.
So you're going to be the third basically non-power 4 school to make the playoff if they do it this year. Like, that's huge.
Remarkable accomplishment just to be in this position, right?
And 3 years ago they were 4 wins in the 3 seasons.
They won 4 wins in 3 years.
And 3 of those were FCS schools.
That is correct. Yeah. No, you've come from the abyss. Golesh deserves a ton of credit. I just hope that, for their sake, they don't have one of these collapses, that they play their best football. I think if they play the way they're capable of, they certainly can win these 3 games. I don't even question my mind about that.
Well, that's where the Memphis loss stings a little bit, because you were up big in
14. You gave up 17 in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Ugh.
That's where it's. I mean, it's.
And then you even had a chance to tie at the end.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you your dream, but now it makes the margins a lot thinner.
But you needed help and you got it. That's the key.
Yes.
You needed the help and you got it, and you're right back where you need to be, controlling your own destiny.
Yep.
And that's all you can ask as a football team, or any team. So that's going to be pretty exciting stuff, man. It's hard to fathom that they could actually pull this off, but frankly, they could actually pull this off. I'm trying to wrap my head around a college football reveal show that has USF in it. It'd be just crazy.
Be awesome.
But that's what they've done. So good on them. Good on them for sure. Florida Gators not so much. FSU not so much. But USF kind of representing right now for them.
Yeah, and I can't remember who tweeted this out or put it on X, but USF could be the first team from Florida to make the college football playoff.
Of course they are. Why would we think Miami or Florida State or Florida could do it? Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah, and with Miami losing a couple games now, USF could be the.
It's possible, right? Wow. What a piece of history that would be. Well, as long as it's not UCF, the Bulls will take it. But they've gotten some enthusiasm over there. The kids have responded. The students, when they had college, their nighttime version of College Game Day was great over there.
Yep.
Rob Higgins is running stuff and running around getting people to support him. So good times right now at USF. See if they can keep it going. All right. We're going to have good times tomorrow. I'm going to talk to Todd Bowles probably about 12:30, get the postmortem on the Bucs loss. Of course, a difficult loss that it was to the England Patriots as they get ready to play. Head up to Buffalo. I don't know, this federal shutdown may be ending. Maybe I can actually fly there next Saturday. Who knows? It'd be nice to get there and back. Didn't think that was necessarily going to happen, but we'll have to follow that as well. Hey, go see our friends at Breitling Boutique. Seriously, they have. I was by there the other day. They had the Buccaneers team watch. So many great timepieces in there. You talk about Breitling Company. Been in business for over 140 years. They've been International Plaza now in the boutique for over 5. Great customer service. Watches for your wife or girlfriend. Sports watches that are beautiful and durable. So you can pick from an array of colored wristbands. Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Get there and let them know you heard about it right here on Sports Day, Tampa Bay. Thanks for listening, everybody. For Steve Versnick, I am Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day.